joy, I am ease. I sing like the birds, I grow like the trees. I choose to live in love. I am joy, I am ease. Om Shri Lakshmi Mahadevi Namaha. 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 I choose no more fear. I choose no more shame. I choose to live in love. I am light, I am grace. I choose no more fear. I choose no more shame. I choose to live in love. I am light, I am grace. Om Shri Lakshmi Mahadevi Namaha. 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 Yeah, I sing like the birds, I grow like the trees. I choose to live in love. I am joy, I am peace. I choose no more fear. No more fear. I choose no more shame. I choose to live in love. I am light, I am grace. Om Shri Lakshmi Mahadevi Namaha. 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 I walk softly on this earth in the light of God's name. I choose to live in love. I am joy, I am peace.
Welcome to our sacred centering time. Just allow yourself to come into this present moment. Maybe closing your eyes, making yourself comfortable in your chair, wherever you are. And just scanning your body here and sending the exhale breath to any area of tension or tightness that you may be noticing in this moment. It's just the awareness that we bring in this space of how we're feeling at any moment, and the awareness of where we might be holding on to tension and tightness. For most of us, it's actually in the belly. So take a moment maybe to place your hand on your belly. Place your thumb into the navel, your pinky on the pubic bone area. And you might even take your second hand. Aren't we blessed to have a second hand? And just notice that we're creating our own self-soothing breath and breathing here. I call this returning home to ourselves. When we return home to our baby belly breathing, This is how we breathe as babies when we were first on this earth. Feel that. Feel that wonderful gift of life that is here in this lower womb space for us as women. And for men, it is the sacral chakra space. Energetically, there is still a womb space. It's the space for creativity. It's the space where we also connect to our birth mother, maybe noticing the navel area. Maybe you birthed children. So in this moment, just connecting to this sense of life, this gift of life that we've been given. Expanding and contracting here. You never have to go anywhere else to find peace and serenity. We can self-soothe here anytime we're feeling anxious or worried. So expanding and contracting here, coming home to ourselves. And from here, just beginning to notice the peace and the serenity now that you are creating here. And maybe now on your next inhale breath, you're bringing this peace up into the heart space. And maybe resting here in your heart. And opening your heart here to receive this prayer from Saint Francis today. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. Become aware of your heart space as you send this love out, connecting here with Saint Francis as we affirm, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Become aware of your breath and breathing. As you begin to bring yourself back to this present moment. Lengthening your inhale breath, your exhale breath. Bringing your hands together however you like to close. I want to say what a joy it is to reconnect with all of you again for our sacred centering time, for our devotional service. And until we meet each other again, the divine light and love within me honors the divine light and love within each and every one of you. Namaste.
Good morning, family. Welcome to our Sunday time of connection. This is our time that we get together and we show our devotion. There's a lot of commotion in the world. And I feel like it's important for us to have a very clear devotion to these spiritual principles that we say we believe. We say that we believe we are people of faith and that we are people who have decided to live by love is who I am, gratitude is my attitude, abundance is my nature, well-being is my birthright. And we really are diving in deep to what it looks like to awaken, to come into a space of waking up to the truth of who we are. I've mentioned to you before, and I'll continue to mention it, that my goal and really my calling and purpose in life is to do that, is to help as many people wake up as possible while I'm here in human form. But to also wake up fully myself as I'm constantly learning and constantly figuring out how to face my own shadow self. What we don't face will never change. And I believe it was Carl Jung who said, until the conscious or till the unconscious becomes conscious, we will remain in a state of chaos and a state of constantly being led by the unconscious, and we'll just call it fate. I believe that we are a group of people who have chosen the other route, and that is to wake up, to shake up, and to rise up into our highest, most full potential as divine beings. And every one of you who are tuning in right now is a divine being. At the core of your being is your divinity. You don't begin as a sinner. You don't begin as someone with a deficit. Your very baseline and foundation is divine. So we are remembering that. We're choosing to remember our original, authentic, and true self. And that's really what all of these messages are about. That's what all of the meditations are about. That's really what the music speaks to. The music is invoking and evoking an emotional response to that vibrational frequency of our truth. And we're learning how to align with that. And as I've said to you before, rather than being a good person, I want to be a self-realized person. More than being pure, I want to be awake, fully conscious. So many of us through religion and even other types of practices have been endeavoring to become better people instead of simply embracing who we truly are, meeting ourselves where we are with love and with compassion. That's my goal. My goal is to do that. And so I wanted to share over the next couple of weeks something that I have come up with that I'd like to title it The Sacred Chemistry of Life. It is dissolution, solution, and resolution. Now, normally we talk about resolutions at the beginning of a new year, but I'm dealing with resolution a little differently today in this talk that I'd like to share with you, the gift of coming undone. If we were in person, I would ask you to raise your hand, and actually I'll ask you to maybe click a raising hand emoji to put in the comments, but raise your hand if you've ever had a season where your life just seemed to be coming undone. I'm talking about that kind of season where the job is gone, the relationship falls apart, your plans that you've made, they're just poof, gone like they never belonged to you and like they never were. Let me share with you a story, and we're going to call her name Sarah because I'm going to allow her real name to remain anonymous. But Sarah was sharing with me Sarah was sharing with me that over a matter of months, she had lost her job, she lost her relationship, and the plan that she built, the ideas and visions she built her life around, all seemed to go away. We sat together in a coaching session, and I'll never forget what she said to me. She said, I feel like my life is dissolving and that I'm dissolving into nothing. And all of you know I'm a little strange. It came up out of me really before I could even stop it. And I said the most honest thing that I could. That's actually a good thing. And she blinked and looked a little confused. She kind of gave me this look. So I told her, you're not disappearing. You're unfolding. You're not dissolving into nothing. You're actually finally becoming everything that you we're intended to be. So the number one thing I'd like to point out today, when we're talking about dissolution, dissolving, that dissolving and dissolution is not destruction. Sometimes when things are falling apart, they actually may be falling into place. That's an anonymous quote. Many of us have heard it before. You've heard it before. I'm wanting to remind us that we are taught to fear breakdowns. But spiritually speaking, dissolution and dissolving is sacred. It's how the seed becomes a tree. It's how the caterpillar becomes a butterfly. In chemistry, dissolution isn't destruction. It's the breaking apart of bonds to allow for new compounds to form. Spiritually, the same thing is true. Jesus even says in the Gospels, actually John chapter 12, 24, he says, unless the grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. I was looking at some Gallup polls around this. In 2023, Gallup polls report that 52% of adults who experience major life disruption and disillusion, I'll say this, or dissolving, reported greater purpose and a higher level of alignment within just 1 year. So dissolution and dissolving is not destruction. It's really, the setback is a setup for your comeback. And allowing yourself to be aware of that in the midst of the dissolving is really important to encourage yourself in the midst of that dissolving. Let me give you an example of kind of where this message really came from. When we were in the UK, most of the time when we do coffee and tea around here, Carrie and I both have a particular creamer that we like. And for the most part, she and I give up processed sugar for the most part. We do very little candies and cakes and sodas. It's very little, okay? But that's one kind of thing that she and I both enjoy, is that our coffee and our tea, or the way I drink tea actually, we use this particular creamer. Well, while we were over in UK, we didn't have that kind of creamer available to us, and so it was milk and sugar. That's the common thing, milk and sugar. So kind of what made this message occur to me, especially in terms of dissolving, was that I was making coffee because that's what I normally do around the house here. Is I'm normally up the earliest, and so I make coffee really since she and I have been together. Unless we're apart, I'm gone, and like I was this last week to Atlanta, and we're apart from each other, I normally make the coffee. So I was making her coffee, and I know that she wants plenty of milk in it and sugar to sweeten it. But the sugar was in the spoon, and it's solid, it's granulated, it's solid. And I took the spoon and I dropped it into that dark liquid, into that coffee, and began to stir. And as I did, that solid became merged with the liquid. So what I'm saying is that when our ego, or when our plans, when our roles begin to dissolve into the fluidity of a deeper truth, if you'll give yourself an opportunity, you'll see that dissolving can actually sweeten the drink. Does that make sense to anyone maybe? Hopefully that strikes you the way it did with me. The second thing I'd like to point out is what you're losing might be what you were never meant to keep to start with. Lao Tzu said this: when you let go of who you are, you become who you might be. So my friend Sarah, she wasn't losing her life, she was losing her illusion. The idea of certainty is an illusion, and she was losing that. Dr. Wayne Dyer said this: the greatest gift you can give yourself is the freedom to let go of who you think you're supposed to be. Can I hear that one more time? The greatest gift you can give yourself is the freedom to let go of who you think you're supposed to be. In fact, type into the comments, if you will, I'm letting go of who I think I'm supposed to be. Put that into the comments. Take a moment real quick to just put that into the comments, because as you're doing that, you're making the declaration. Consider saying it aloud. I'm letting go of who I think I'm supposed to be. I'm letting that go. And as you're typing it, your fingers, the action is helping your brain to acknowledge that you're ready to move to another level. Romans chapter 12 and 2, St. Paul says this: don't be conformed to the pattern of this world. or in other words, my current my current cosmos, but be transformed by the renewing of my mind. All of us are comfortable, at least our minds are comfortable with things being as they have been. So dissolving tends to be very disorienting. But as I've said to us many times, and again, I repeat myself because I want us to look at these things and I want us to look at them more solidly and more truly, more openly. Most of us will not ever reorient to something fresh until we first experience deorientation from the stale. And many of us will settle for the stale because we're afraid of what the freshness might require. I've been using this statement over and over again. I used it in the panel that I was on this last Wednesday. Most of us want healing because we are afraid of transformation. We'd rather patch what is, sort of just keep it patched up, than to transform, because to transform means to change your form. And if you change the formula and the form, you're going to have to reorient. And many of us don't want to do that. We would rather be habitually miserable than to step by faith into and face the fear of what is possible. In fact, type this into the comments. I'm letting go of comfortably miserable, and I'm opening to all that's possible. I'm letting go of comfortably miserable, and I'm opening up to all that's possible. So don't be conformed to the pattern that you've had, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Number 3, emptiness is the beginning of everything. Somebody say emptiness is the beginning of everything. Most of us think that emptiness means you've lost something. We think most of the time that emptiness implies that I have nothing. Actually, emptiness implies that nothing has you, and furthermore, you become the gigantic expanded host to all things. You're not only are you releasing yourself from the prison of limitation, but you're expanding yourself into the infinite possibility and potential of having come into your life loosely and joyfully all the things that you have been missing. Your prosperity, your abundance, your health, your wealth, your well-being, most of that is on the other side of the clutching and the clenching that you've been doing. Allowing yourself to dissolve all of the ego's hold on your life and dissolve all of the miserableness that you've been living in. That is what is the key to your freedom. So emptiness is the beginning of everything. Eckhart Tolle says, only when you become comfortable with not knowing can you begin to access the deeper intelligence that resides within you. My friend, Bishop D.E. Paulk wrote an entire book about this, where the title of the book is I Don't Know, subtitle The Way of Knowing. In other words, when I can let go of what I think I know, I can open up to the potential of all that's possible. Somebody say, I'm opening up to the potential of all that's possible. Esther Hicks says, everything you want is downstream. Stop paddling upstream, let go and flow. Everything you want is downstream. Stop paddling upstream, let go and flow. And I want to tell you this, if you will let go, grow, and glow with the flow, you will expand your life to such a place that you'll be in alignment with all of the divine principle. And as you're in alignment with divine principle, everything that you have ever needed and truly wanted starts to come into your life. Dr. Joe Dispenza, one of my favorite, most recent, especially favorite teachers in terms of quantum physics and neuroscience, says that in his studies, he shows that people who enter heart-brain coherence, in that place of dissolving the intelligence of the mind, or at least bowing the intelligence of the mind to the compassion of the heart, they report a 65% increase in feelings of inner peace and connection after just 4 days. When they learn how to come into coherence and they empty out. Remember, emptiness is the beginning of everything. And they empty out. They start to locate all that's possible to them. In the Psalms, David said, be still and know that I am God. And here's what I believe is being said there. In the stillness, in the peace, rest back into this reality that I am divine nature, nothing missing and nothing broken. Now, when you move into emptiness, you start becoming everything, or you start to realize the everythingness of your life. Maya Angelou said this: "We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has had to go through to achieve that beauty." Can you hear that today? We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit to the changes that it's had to go through to achieve that beauty. Shifting, sifting, changing, transforming, transcending, all of this is how we become the best version of ourselves. It's almost as if we're unbecoming to become. Shameless plug. I'm getting ready to put out a 30-day devotional around that idea. Unbecoming to become. You start to become everything when you live in that emptiness, when you can recognize the beauty of the butterfly, but remember that that beauty was created through transformation and through change. Joe Dispenza says, to truly change is to become no one, no thing, no time. And from that nothingness, you become the quantum possibility of everything. I like to say it as Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say it a lot. I am open to everything, but attached to no thing. This is why I hold all of my beliefs loosely, and yet I embrace fully. Now notice I didn't say hold tightly. Embrace fully the guidance, the leadership, the direction of that divine principle that is within me, and it is within you. The prophet Isaiah in the Hebrew Bible said, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Can you perceive it?" I'm asking us today, this stirring, this shaking, this sifting, this shifting, are we able to let go of the old? Listen, this applies to our politics, our government, our religious systems, our spirituality systems, the way we've done relationship, the way we've seen human beings, race, color, creed, sexual orientation, sexual identity, the way we've seen all. Are we able to let go of what we think are strong-held beliefs so that we can release ourselves into a life of faith? Today, are you able to let go of the feeling of fear every time you get a bill and you start to write a check or you start to sign up for bill pay? Are you able to let go of the fear of your electric bill or the fear of the economy that we see, the craziness in it? Are we able to let go of that? Because if we can let go of that feeling of fear, we can open ourselves up to the feeling of trust and the feeling of bliss that the universe, the same universe, one verse and one versification, that same universe that lives in us, produced us into this planet, that same universe is still in existence, still causing us to hurl through space at crazy speeds. We're still spinning around a ball of fire called the sun, and it is regulating all of that. Can you see the greatness of that versus what we've put our trust in this temporary world system? Are you able to say, hey, I'm doing a new thing, and now it springs up. I choose to perceive it. When the old falls away, something vast and true rises in its place. This is the gift of coming undone. This is not the end of your life. It's the beginning of your becoming. So are you able to see the gift of coming undone? Are you able to see the gift of the breakdown? of the falling apart, as it seems, the dissolving. This is what I'm calling sacred chemistry. It's the dissolution and the dissolving that leads to solution. I'm going to ask you to take a moment, if you would. And I know we had meditation before, and I appreciate so much Reverend Aileen being a part of today's service. But I'm going to ask you, if you will, to take a moment. Let's take a few moments now to shift from doing to being, from holding it all together to allowing it all to unfold. This is your space, your breath, your becoming. So I'm going to ask you to settle into presence for just a moment here. Maybe consider closing your eyes gently. Let your body soften for just a moment. Let your shoulders drop away from the ears. Let your breath become slow, as if the air itself is holding you. And I'll invite you to inhale and exhale. With each breath, feel yourself arriving more fully here in this present moment. You don't have to fix anything right now. You don't have to figure anything out. Just be. Deep breath in and exhale. Now I'll invite you, as the music is playing, to bring to mind something in your life that feels like it's unraveling. Maybe it's a role, a relationship. Maybe it's a plan that no longer seems to fit. Let it float to the surface of your awareness. No judgment, no description, just presence. And now imagine this part of your life like a sandcastle being gently washed by the tide. Not destroyed. Can you hear that? Not destroyed, but returned to something larger. Deep breath in and exhale. Again, seeing that part of your life like a sandcastle, and it's being washed by the tide, not destroyed, but returned to something larger. And then repeat this silently or aloud. I allow what no longer serves me to dissolve. I trust what is falling away. I am safe in the space between stories. Now notice what happens when you stop clinging. Notice the spaciousness that begins to bloom and expand. I'll invite you to breathe into that. And exhale. And now imagine, if you would, a warm light beginning to rise within you. From your chest, your belly, your heart. This light isn't coming from something outside of you. It is you. It's who you were before the job, before the expectations, before the world told you who to be. Breathe into that light and let yourself rest in the vastness of your becoming. Now I invite you to repeat this softly. I am not breaking down. I am breaking open. I am not becoming nothing. I am becoming everything. I am free to trust the mystery unfolding within me. Now, once again, feel the breath moving. Feel the ground beneath you, holding you like it always does. Maybe feel your soul expanded, quiet, and still. And when you're ready, wiggle those fingers and maybe your toes. Receive a deep breath in. Consider opening your eyes. You have not come undone. You have come home. You have not come undone. You have come home. In this sacred chemistry, are you able to see the gift of coming undone? Are you able to see that gift? And if you're not able to see it, continue at least not giving effort, but giving space to look for the beauty of the coming undone. Now, we're about to bring this time together to conclusion, but before we do that, I want to say thank you for being a sustaining partner with this ministry. And I also want to say that it's more important now than ever to support financially. And if I was going to give an offering invitation today, and I will, I would say the offering invitation today is to let it flow. Sometimes the greatest act of faith is letting go of what you've been gripping too tightly. Now, you've just heard a message about the sacred power of coming undone, of letting go of what no longer serves you. So something deeper, something freer, more divine can really start to take its place. Giving, to me, is a mirror of that same trust. It's a sacred way of saying, I don't have to control everything. I can release. I can trust the flow. When I give financially, I'm saying to the universe, I trust you with my finances. So today, we're not giving out of obligation. We're not giving to buy blessings or to prove our worth. We're not giving because we're afraid. We're giving because it's an act of alignment. We're saying to the universe, to the divine, to ourselves, I trust what's unfolding. I release, and then I receive. And I'm entering into the law of circulation. I trust what's unfolding. So as you're giving the offering today, I'm going to ask you to type into the comments, I trust what's unfolding. This offering is not a payment. It's not you, again, buying or paying God off. It's a practice of surrender. It's a seed of becoming. And so let what you give today really just be an extension of your faith, your freedom, and your unfolding. Let it flow from you. So the ways to give will be shared on the screen as we start to exit today. And I'm asking you today to put an extra special blessing. Invest in this flow. Again, this is the seed of becoming. And I'll ask you to even consider typing into the comments as you give the seed, this is my seed of becoming. Type that into the comments. Make that declaration. Put that intention on that seed. I love you, my friends. We'll see you next week. Peace. Hey, family, thank you for joining us today for our telecast. And thank you for being a sustaining partner with First Unity Spiritual Campus. The number one way to give is to text to give, 833-691-6105. And you can text the word give. Number two, the First Unity app, and then tap that yellow heart. And number three, go to firstunity.org/give. And this also gives you the option to have a subscription giving, which is automatic each month. That means you can budget it into your monthly budget and not even have to think about it. It comes out automatically. The fourth way to give is to mail to P.O. Box 13293, St. Petersburg, Florida, 33733. The number five way to give is through Cash App. That's right, through Cash App, $First Unity SC. $First Unity SC. Also, you can use the QR code that is on the screen right now. You can scan that code and be taken to our safe and secure website for your giving. Once again, allow me to say thank you so much for being a sustaining partner with this ministry of love. Have a wonderful day. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Now there is peace on earth. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. And our prayer of protection together, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love. The power of God protects us. I am the power. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is, so it is. I love you. Make it a great week just because you can.